question. Also, dialogue. Now we are getting more into certain level of, better level of participation from the civil society sector, like opportunity for citizens to express their views on the community policies and central local administrative effectiveness. Participation in policy strategies through helping to implement the processes that incorporate the dialogue as a part of decision making. So now it's a certain better level, right? Where dialogue is, well, local or central government is noticing not partnership yet, but as a potential cooperation for dialogue in terms of dealing with certain issues and taking into consideration the other part, let's say, a non-governmental part. So we have discussion at what level still, again, environment where there is a sufficient ground for dialogue between governmental organizations and civil society organizations at your country level. This level of participation is level of partnership, which is we'll discuss in the context of all the ways of inclusion of civil society. So this is the highest level of civil society engagement in decision-making processes. This level needs to be understood as a mutual level of cooperation between government, CSOs, and other potential stakeholders. The successful partnership is reached only where there is sufficient willingness of authorities to engage civil society representatives in joint decision-making. Within the partnership agreements, roles and responsibilities are clearly defined in the process. So we are not talking only about meetings and all that. We only have a paperwork in place where partnership are clearly action divided. So discussion, again, at what level is the environment where there is sufficient ground for partnership between governmental organizations, CSOs at your country level?
So I would like to raise and to try to make a recapitulation of the day of yesterday, what we done yesterday actually. We spoke about the local contexts, and it was a great input for all of us. I think that just to realize and to understand with what kind of circumstances we are facing on when we are talking about the civic participation. Today we are going to discuss some more concrete steps, how we can improve situation in our countries, as well as tomorrow we will deal with that kind of questions. So just a few information at the beginning, but please, you will help me with this kind of information regarding some context, additional information about the context in your countries. I would like just to have maybe like a clear overview related to especially these institutional mechanisms for cooperation. So for example, in Croatia, we have like a program for cooperation between government and NGOs. I think that it might help to all of you just to realize that situation from country to country is different. And we will have that in our material. So sometimes that's a good just to have in mind what kind of mechanisms are established in other countries and what are the areas that you can lobby in your own country, you know, just to propose as kind of ways how you can cooperate with the governmental institutions. So program for cooperation between government and NGOs established in 2001 in Croatia. Civil society is recognized as a very important actor actually through that document, and Croatian government through this agreement and program defined the principle of independency, whatever that means, but you know, so it's nice to have it as defined in a document. So Croatia also developed a national strategy for creation of environment for stimulating the cooperation with civil society and the government, and the strategy is covering the period from 2007 to 2011. Also in Croatia, code of good practice for cooperation and consultation with civil society is developed. They have a governmental office there, and they have a council for civil society development. Is that okay? Yeah. So in terms of implementation, I know that you have a lot of thought about that, and we heard that the implementation part of some of the aspects of all of this are weak, but some of the aspects are really improved, which is also said in the progress report. As you know, the European Commission prepared the progress report every year regarding to different aspects in countries. And one really important part of the progress report is also cooperation of the governmental institutions with the civil society. So for the last year, some kind of evaluation of civil society, cooperation with civil society in this progress report is that in Croatia we have some kind of progress regarding to cooperation, but also that it's a relatively weak analytical capacity in the country. So that's the area maybe for NGOs to be more aware of that and to try to increase that kind of capacity, and then through that to improve the future cooperation. So it might be interesting for you. So they evaluate also as a very positive that it's a 7 sectoral agreement signed in Croatia related to different areas. Probably they means with the different ministries, and that's improved cooperation as well. So in Bosnia and Herzegovina, they signed actually agreement on cooperation between the Council of the Ministry and the non-governmental sector, and they define that as a general framework for cooperation between the government and NGOs. And board of civil society is also developed in Bosnia and Herzegovina. And regarding to the progress report, they said that it's a limited progress made it in the last year, and that they are evaluated as a very important, this agreement and board of civil society, but the overall evaluation is that implementation of the concrete implementation of the cooperation is pretty much weak, and that's the area how to NGO sector can force the government and to be more proactive to the government actually to try to find a way for productive cooperation with them. So for Macedonia, a strategy for cooperation of government also developed. It's a period from 2007 to 2011. The Office for Contact between NGOs and Parliament developed also and established. The National Council of Euro Integration established, and that's the kind of mechanisms for Macedonia, which is also and the very active role of civil society in the regular impact assessment in Macedonia. So this is something that it's reflected in this progress report. And the overall evaluation of the cooperation is that a lot of resources, additional resources from this civil society facilities actually involved in different activities and capacity building for civil society organization in Macedonia. It's more than 8 million euros for civil society in Macedonia. This is in official document, which is really like a huge amount of money. Sometimes we are not completely aware of that, how many, what is the additional resources that we are getting in the country to develop capacity of civil society, but it's good to have it in mind that it's really like a huge resources. On the other side, it's involvement on civil society in legislation area are pretty much poor still, so they are trying to moderate and to increase that kind of cooperation and to develop mechanism for consultation mechanism for civil society further. So, in Albania, you will help me with this information, but the first office for public information was opened in 1998, and then that's developed further. From the side of other institutional mechanisms, if you have any information in terms of this kind of cooperation, like agreement, or I didn't find that kind of information for Albania, but you can add something if you have information, of course. In the progress report, they said that the law of establishment of civil society foundation is forcing to be developed, and some processes regarding to consultation processes with the civil society organization are established, but there are no formal mechanisms for cooperation, and this is something which is recommendation from European Commission for Albanian civil society, actually to lobby for establishment of formal mechanisms for cooperation. For Turkey, it's also that it's a lot of informal improvement are also in place, but in terms of the two key points are the lack of the trust between the government and civil society, which you phased out yesterday and talked about that this is something still very obvious in Turkey, and but a lack of effective dialogue, especially related to the gender issues in Turkey. So that's the two areas, even though the growing of the number of the organization in Turkey is obvious and the kind of cooperation is improved, but also that there is no some official mechanisms for cooperation in Turkey. In Serbia, we have finally the law of NGO. That was really like a long process and problematic area. So last year, the law adopted. Also, we have several mechanisms established between the governmental institutions and civil society organization. Ministry of Minority established the cooperation and signed the agreement of cooperation with the civil society organizations. More than 150 organizations signed that agreement with the ministry. Also, this team for social inclusion and poverty reduction developed the in a participatory way. They developed the mechanism for cooperation between 7 contact local NGOs, and that was the channel for communication between the government and civil society organizations related to some specific, the most vulnerable groups. From that position, you will heard about that more today from our guest speaker. But the initiative started from that point and from the contact organizations for establishment of this office for cooperation between NGO and the government. Ministry of Youth developed also very participatory process and involved a lot of civil society organization in cooperation during the designing the national youth strategy. And Ministry of Finance also developed the mechanism to involve the civil society organization in the IPA program funds and to together actually decide about the priorities for